Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Tyler's Corner, part 1.1.
Oh my God, we have to do this again.
So we just sat for, what time did we start?
It was an hour and 7 minutes.
Hour and 7 minutes. We just finished our podcast to realize that Tyler's microphone was muted.
Yeah. Ooh. So we're gonna try to be
everything
quick.
I said, but we're gonna condense it a little bit.
So we talked about the California Fair to Play Act, fair pay to play, but we can't talk about that due to time. So we're just gonna jump in. Just Miami, Virginia Tech.
No, we can talk about it just briefly.
No, I don't. I want to get into it deeply. We'll do it next week.
Okay.
We'll do it next
That's
week.
fair.
Because I really want to get into it, and I want to see what else kind of happens this week too.
So
with
if you
it.
don't know what it is, it just means that athletes can be paid for name and likeness, and it's going to start around 2023, 2024.
Just in California for right now.
Yeah, just in California. So we'll get into that next week. Look for that post. But let's talk about Miami versus Virginia Tech.
So, what is Virginia Tech good at?
Well, according to you, Tyler, the first bullet point says nothing.
We're really jumping into this one. Yeah.
I watched the Duke game. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Virginia Tech did not show up. They looked terrible.
Their
Tyler
offense
did
is.
mention that they're starting a new QB. You want to talk about the QB?
Yeah, he's Hendon Hooker. He's the number 11 dual threat quarterback in 2016, which was the same year as like N'Kosi Perry and Tua. Yeah. And then, he's 6'4", probably 215 now. First time starting. I don't see this being a good game for him because they still can't run the football, and they still don't have anybody that's fast and can catch. Yeah. So it still is very limited as to what they can do, what their offensive approach will be, because as we said in the original one, I don't think it matters what Virginia Tech does at all on offense.
Yeah,
because Miami's defense is just going to be insane at this game.
Yeah, and Virginia Tech's offense, they're starting two freshmen on the goal line, just like Miami. So we're going to expect to see the same thing that Miami's been going through the first couple of weeks. We really don't have much to say about Virginia Tech. Their defense play calling is similar to Miami, but they don't have the talent like we have.
Yeah, so you combo their terrible running game and their terrible defensive line, or offensive line, with Miami's stellar run defense and really good defensive line with the added addition of Nesta Silvera. And it's like, man, you're not going to be able to run the football. Yeah. Like most teams. What does that do? It makes you very one-dimensional with a lackluster quarterback that couldn't beat out a senior redshirt, their Malik Rozier, and man,
it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
You got to pass the ball every time. You got to try to run the football with the quarterback. It doesn't look like it's going to be a hot one for them on offense.
Yeah, and I watched the press conference with Justin Fuente, and he didn't look very excited at all.
Yeah, and you add Nesta, to the front, as I said, and then you add Bubba Bolden to the safety core, who is really experienced. There's our transfer kid from USC. He went to the same high school as Tate Martell and Brevin Jordan. So they're all, real good friends. And it seems that he's really acclimating well. They're saying he's practicing well. Said as long as he can tackle the way Miami players are supposed to tackle, because they're taught differently. They're taught kind of to use their right shoulder, keep your head out of the play so you don't get flagged, stuff like that. Like make sure rugby style tackling is what they're taught, and which is all purely just shoulder and arms as opposed to full on fulcrum and inertia with tackles. Yep. But I don't think it matters what Virginia Tech does on offense at all. It just doesn't matter.
Miami's defense should look amazing this game. We should be stacked. We should see the old school Miami defense coming back. Shaq. Just
because this kid can run, but he's not fast. I've seen his film. He looks. He ain't good. He ain't terrible.
He's a second string QB.
Yeah, I don't think he's Sam Howell at all. So it doesn't matter when you're a running quarterback and you're slow. It doesn't matter when you play a team like Miami, who's fast at every position.
Yeah.
who has a lineman that is 6'5" and he's like 230, which is the same size as your quarterback, and he could probably run a 4.6, and your quarterback ran like a 4.8.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, doesn't matter.
So what do you expect to see from Enos?
I think that'll be the matchup of the week, as I have been saying.
As we said for 20 minutes
an
hour ago.
It'll be Dan Enos' play calling versus Bud Foster's play calling, which will be Virginia Tech's defensive coordinator. Because what Virginia Tech does is they'll play fast and aggressive. Tell me if this sounds familiar. They'll play fast, they'll play aggressive, they'll come at you up the middle and make you pick one of 3 spots to throw the football, which is underneath, in the middle, or down the field. And it's which one of those have we not done at all down the field? So then it begs the question, does Enos really have it in him this week to throw the ball deep and really play like we have all been wanting him to? Because in the press conferences in the past 2 weeks, the Miami fans have really been angry because they've all started to conglomerate, trying to conjugate on the fact that we're not throwing the ball deep, and everybody's realizing it. So on the forums, on the YouTube comments of their interview videos, it's like, are we going to be under center again, or what? Like, are we going to go in the shotgun, or are we going to be stupid? Like, because that's what everybody's saying.
And Dan Enos' mentality.
Yeah.
What did he say in his press conference? Yeah, we're going to be under center.
Oh, he goes, yeah, why would I not be under center?
Yeah.
It's like, just shoot me in the head.
You're going to get fired, bro.
It's like, man.
That's why you should be
when you're saying stuff like that, like, what do you expect? Yeah, I'm going under center. It's like.
So, yeah, I'm 100%.
Miami's
D is going to show up. They're going to do good. They're going to do amazing. Virginia Tech's not going to be able to do anything against Miami's defense. Miami's offense.
That is fully reliant on Miami's offensive coordinator.
I'm 35% Miami's offense shows up. I'm just being honest. Jeff Thomas, we haven't seen anything from him this year. I would love to see Jeff Thomas step up. I'm just being honest. They got potential, but
yeah, it's gonna be. It's not because their offensive line is terrible or their defensive line is terrible. Their corners are not very good. They're very small. Linebackers. What is it?
You're going to get tweets about that.
Probably, man. I always get the messages about everything. And then their linebackers are solid. I kind of like them. They seem like they play really well.
Yeah.
Which is that. I think that's what Bud Foster coaches is the linebackers. And they've got a couple. One safety is kind of like 6th round. That one is just not having it. So it's really like their defense has got a lot of holes in it. And it's like, are you going to do... Because he's been saying the whole week, I forgot to say, like, oh, we're being more aggressive, while we're being under center. It doesn't matter. And it's like...
Dan Enos said that?
Yeah.
That don't matter. You need to get out from under center.
It's like, he says, under center gives Jaron the best look at the safeties, what they're doing before the play happens. It's like, have you ever heard of disguise coverage? Because what are we doing? We're turning Jaron around. What does that happen? Common sense. They're behind me. I can't see where they're moving.
Yeah.
They can move a lot in the little 3 seconds that I'm around. And so Jaron's like, okay, in my head, I got the underneath route because they're in cover 3. And so Jaron fakes the play, turns around, and then he's got 5 dudes rushing him because they're blitzing. They faked the coverage. And it's like, what are we doing? Because that's not working. You can't just go off what they're giving you at the beginning because any smart person like Bud Foster will disguise their coverage and bring pressure from you at different angles. So what they're going to do is make you throw the ball deep.
Welcome to our ASMR leaf blowing channel. As the lawn cut the ground right outside.
Oh, my God. This has just been a terrible
It's been a beautiful day.
So as you can tell, I hate being under center. I think we run the ball really well from under center to an extent. But you can't.
Didn't show him.
Yeah, true. Jaron's numbers are also way better in the shotgun. Jaron said he hasn't went under center since he was like 6 or 7 years old. And it's like, okay. So we're apparently practicing being more aggressive. Daniel says he's open to being more aggressive as long as we're max protecting because he doesn't trust our O-line. because it's still just this turnstile of who's going to play.
Yeah, it's like a revolving door.
And it's like, it shouldn't matter who we're playing. This is Virginia Tech. Next week we got Georgia Tech. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. We have people that are faster, that are better, that can catch a whole lot better than anybody on their team.
Yeah.
So what are we doing still going under center if that's our game plan? Bro, count how many times a game Tom Brady is under center. It's got to be maybe 10.
That's Tom Brady, though.
Still, it's like even to that caveat, he's the best player in the world, and he still doesn't use his outdated system.
To be honest with you, I don't know much about football. I know we say this all the time, but honestly, when we used to play Madden and we used to play NCAA, the only time I would use under center is when I would run goal line.
Yeah.
At the goal line.
Yeah.
I hated running center because you don't have time. Maybe it's just me.
Eno says he's more open to deep passes, but he feels we need to max protect, which would mean leaving your 2 tight ends. You're already in a 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, 1 running back, and you're like, well, now we got Brevin Jordan and Will Mallory, who are our better pass catchers on the team, and you're like, well, why don't you guys block? It will give guys like Jeff and KJ to go down the field against the 6 guys they're dropping back.
They don't need to block, though, because they're crazy threats.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're eliminating them completely from the play. And you're leaving Dallas out there, who played a wide receiver a little bit his freshman year before moving definitely to fullback, or to running back, And it's like, now you're leaving Dallas out of the question. You're leaving Brevin out of the question, who leads the team in receiving yards. You're leaving Will Mallory out of the question, who I think is one of the most underrated players on the team.
Yeah.
And it's like, man.
But, if you pull back Jaron, put him in shotgun, you don't need to have as much protection. It gives him more time to throw the ball. He's got more options to throw to.
Yep.
What's the problem? Why not?
I think the only real question on the offense as per player would be, I think it's technically wrong with the players, is the offensive line. We just haven't recruited well there. Our guards and center play really well. Not so much Ja'Kai Clark, but the real ones that played were like Scaife, Donaldson, and Corey Gaynor in the middle. I think we just don't have any tackles that could play.
Was Ja'Kai injured?
Yeah, he was injured in the Central Michigan game.
But it was just like a sprained ankle or something.
Yeah, they said
Manny Diaz said he was good, though.
Yeah, they said that it was just like a precautionary thing, and then that they kind of liked what they were getting. Well, as soon as they rolled out John Campbell in that game, I'm like, that's it. This is enough O-line movement. Y'all know how I feel about John Campbell. But, man, you roll out those same players and they play the same way, then it's like, then it's going to screw with Enos all over again. Because he keeps saying, oh, we don't have time to really be aggressive. Like, shut up, people. I know what I'm doing. It's like, dog, you didn't coach football last season. You coached quarterbacks. You didn't call plays.
Yeah.
Like,
he's got that Alabama mentality, but he's
it's like, dog,
Alabama.
You can't be held responsible for something when you haven't done that in 2 years.
You trying to be Nick Saban, and no.
Oh my God, he makes me angry.
No.
So, in the interest of time, we're really trying to rush this out,
But yeah, like we said, Nesta, we got Nesty coming back. We got Bolden, Pope. I think Miami's defense is going to show up. We're going to see the old school Miami's defense, and it's going to be sick. We're going to see the turnover chain come out quite a bit. That's what I'm hoping for. I just hope Miami's offense shows up.
I know we say this every week, and it's like, oh, this is a turning point for Miami.
This
it's
is
like,
the turning point.
This is it. Like, you don't have a bye week. We had 2 weeks to figure out how to be more aggressive with what we've got.
And we talked about, I don't know if we said it this podcast, but Manny Diaz said the previous 2 weeks practice.
Yeah, were absolutely terrible.
They were terrible. They were trash.
Well, the one before the bye week. He said they went on the bye. He let them go for the weekend. Said he brought them back. He said this is one of the best practice weeks he's ever had as a team ever. Yep. And so he said they're all rejuvenated. They all are refocused. And sometimes that just has to happen. And he also said it's a lot about the fact that they're in a routine. Like, he let them off on the weekend when they technically would be off playing a game. They just didn't play one.
Right.
He said, so, they still had to let people know where they were, whatever. But it's like, a Monday is a Monday. Tuesday is Tuesday, in the sense that Monday you're doing this every week. Tuesday you're doing this every week.
Yeah.
Wednesday you're doing this every week.
He was talking about that. I heard that. He was talking about how military.
Yeah.
They want to get that in you so that you.
Well, he said, well, we've technically been playing football for 9 weeks because they played week 0. He said, so they've been practicing before the week 0 game, practicing on Florida. He said, so it's about.
He said they've been practicing for 14 weeks.
Oh yeah,
maybe
that's what it was.
Played so many games.
He said it's like you got to have the repetition there, and it's a lot more comforting for the guys that I know what we're doing on Monday. Monday we're talking about game plan and we're trying to work it out. Tuesday we're installing new plays to maybe bust out some of that game plan that the other team's trying to throw at us. It's Wednesday is this, Thursday is this, Friday we're leaving to go to the hotel. With all these bye weeks we've had in there because we played week 0, it's a little wonky.
Yeah, and I don't think traditionally. I think I read on what's that website? The U.
State of the U.
State of the U. There was an article on there saying that traditionally Miami doesn't do well after a bye week.
Yeah.
But at home, Miami usually dominates.
I would also just like to restate the stat that I read the very first podcast we did after the Florida game. Oh, yeah. No team has given up more than 10 sacks a game in one game and then gone on to win more than 9.
Yeah.
So, It's like Miami fans are like, including me, we could be better. But it's like, it's just like, no, our offensive line sucks. But it's like, we got to meet us in the middle. Our offensive line is not that bad. We played really bad against Central Michigan. We didn't play that bad against North Carolina. We didn't even play that bad against Florida, even with 10 sacks.
Yeah.
I think
the loss wasn't the O-line's fault.
Yeah.
You didn't lose because the O-line was terrible.
Yeah, our kicker, man, I don't know. Try not to get into that.
The O-line is bad, but you can't blame them for everything.
But
you're dropping passes. Yeah. You're doing this. You're doing that. I digress.
But when we got fast players and we're not letting them be fast because you don't think Jaren can throw it or whatever, that's what this bye week was for.
Jaren's like 72%.
Yeah.
I think Jaren's good to go.
Jaren is apparently in the top 4 or top 5 or whatever, definitely in the top 10 of quarterbacks when you adjust their completion percentage with how many passes have been dropped.
Yeah.
So number 1, I think, is Jalen and Tua, and then it's like Fields, and then I think it's Jaren is in there because Jaren has one of the higher completion percentages in college football.
Yeah.
And it's also because of the fact that he hasn't had to throw the ball more than 15 yards, but one time.
Yeah, he's got 1,027 yards this season, 7 touchdowns.
Probably because I think he averages around 250.
It's like 1,000 something. He only has seven touchdowns.
Yeah, and no interceptions.
Yeah.
This kid is not a liability.
Yeah.
And so you got to get in him, instill in him the fact that he could throw it deep, and he could play.
Throw coverage too.
Yeah, these guys are fast. These guys are ballers. These guys could play. KJ will catch anything you throw at him. Jeff will outrun anybody that you line up against him. And it's like
Jeff just got to catch the ball.
You got Brevin that'll break every tackle, and you got Will who's just that X factor. You don't know what he's gonna do, whether it's good or bad. And then you got Dallas who can run the ball like a maniac. And so you just got to put these players in positions to succeed. Because at the moment, we don't Mike Hartley scored his first ever touchdown for Miami. And he's from St. Thomas Aquinas. He's one of the fastest players on the entire team. He scored his first ever touchdown for Miami versus Bethune-Cookman. And he's a junior, a true junior. He is in his 3rd season. So that tells you Miami has not been utilizing their players well for a really long time.
Yeah.
And so we've got to get this offense into a way. I don't care if you're not more aggressive. If we're scoring points, we're scoring points.
Yep.
There's always going to be an ideal perspective from every fan's point of view.
Yeah.
It's like, here's what I want them to do every time. And it's like, well, that can't happen. It's like, okay, I get it. I don't coach there, but you got to meet me in the middle. Score points, and then I think your conversations are a little bit over with. Because it'll be, we could score more points if we did it this way. It's like, well, who cares? We're winning, and we're scoring points, and we're winning big.
Yeah.
We got to win big in this game, and we've got to do it right, and we've got to make sure our players are in chances to succeed without putting too much pressure on your O-line. because ultimately that is a crutch that we have to kind of lean on and make sure that they're playing better. Because I don't know what else to do, because they're not in position to succeed. We're not dictating to them on offense what we're doing like we used to do in the past. Like, we're fast, we're big, we can catch, we can ball on offense. They're like, oh, on defense, we're going to just let you play whatever play you want, and we're going to just go get you. Yeah. It's like, we're doing that on defense a little bit. We're not as fast as we should. We're young. There's a little more factors in there. Even though I've been a little bit harsh on Blake Baker, but then on offense, we haven't done any of that. It's like we're calling plays, and then Jaron walks up, and then based on whatever coverage it is, it's like, it's like, okay, now run this play. It's like, dog, just run a play and dictate to them what we're doing every time. Look at what Oklahoma does with Jalen Hurts. It's like, they're in Oklahoma, and they got that kind of local speed, whatever. They got dudes blowing by them, whatever. We got dudes that are 3 stars that are faster than them that are 5 stars, even though they're not better players. They're faster, and they're just running straight. How difficult is that? As long as you're fast, you can run in a straight line. It's like, why is Oklahoma doing it so well in Alabama when we have players that are just as fast? They're maybe not better, but we can still run the vertical scheme like they do, but yet we don't.
Yeah.
I just went on
a nice tangent.
I went on a tear. But
I'm going to say Miami wins it between 27-35 to maybe 3 or 7.
I'm going to give 2 predictions, because one is if Miami plays like I think they should, and they're more aggressive, it's like 58. I don't know what the real score in the 50s would be. 56 is divisible by 7, so plus 3, 59.
You know what? I'll give my second opinion, too. If Miami's offense doesn't show up and their defense doesn't show up, it's going to be like 13-7.
I don't think there's a world where Miami loses.
No, I think Miami still wins, but it's like just like the week 2 weeks ago against Central Michigan. We looked terrible. We played terrible. We barely win. Winning's not everything. If you look terrible winning and you win by luck, you still have a bad team.
Yeah, if Miami's offense doesn't show up, I put them at like maybe 24, maybe 10. I don't think Virginia Tech scores more than 10 no matter what. I think they get lucky on a play or 2, and they kick a field goal and get a touchdown.
Now, I will say Florida wins by 3.
Okay, we're not talking about that again.
But Florida wins by 3.
We talked about that for a while. We're not talking about that again. It's just Miami's got to play like Miami is supposed to. And what I even know, I never even got to see those teams, and I know the way Miami is supposed to play. Yeah. It's like, if I'm 24 and I didn't even see those guys with my own eyes, how come I know the way they're supposed to play and you don't, and supposedly are supposed to know more football than I do? It's like, I'm not saying, I'm not saying that in like a bad way, but it's like, Manny Diaz knows exactly what it's supposed to be. Yeah. And I think at this point, he's just like, you got to fix it. And I think that's why. I think that's why they tried to be more aggressive this week in practice, because it's like, if we don't fix it this week, you can't really focus on it for quite some time.
I think he's been aggressive the past 3 weeks.
Probably.
I think Manny Diaz has been aggressive. Like DJ Ivey's press conference, he said that practice has been tough.
They said that there was one practice before the bye week. They were doing so bad at practice that they did 1 minute offense versus defense. And the loser, their consequences were so bad that all the players came and complained to him after practice how bad it was. It said, Manny said that was music to my ears.
And Manny didn't even say what it was.
He said that Shaq and Pickney came to me and said how tired they were and how awful this was. That he was doing this before a bye week or whatever. And I was like, yeah, because I think it's Manny's the guy. Manny's the guy. I've said this. Yeah. But whether the guys around him are making it easy on him remains to be seen. Yeah. So this is the turning point in the sense that the offense either gets it right this week, or we're still just going to have this, who shows up this week. Is it the good Miami offense, or is it the terrible one that we saw against Central Michigan?
Yeah, and if Miami loses, who loses their job?
Because at the second half of Bethune-Cookman, it looked like Miami found something on offense, and then now it's just like we're in limbo again. So for an interest of time, that's about all we got.
Yeah. If you could have caught the other one, it was a lot better, but I do have to go.
I'll probably leave it up I have no audio in my mic.
You can kind of hear them if you turn your speakers up, but you can hear me.
We talk about the fair play or fair pay to play, whatever. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm gonna leave it up or not. I'm not sure, but
Thank
Andrew,
you guys for
cut
watching.
us out.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell your grandmother about our podcast. Anything else, Tyler? You forgot to say go you. Go Florida. As I do a tomahawk. Whatever. Peace.